Well, friends, you know what time it is. No, it's not Breakfast with Bradley, it's Tea Time with Tierney. Let's jump into this. Hey, my friends, it has been a blast talking a little bit about uncomfortable verses about marriage and relationship. Well, they shouldn't be uncomfortable, and I think that's why we wanted to take a crack at them. Because these really, in context, have a lot to say about what God wants for us and what he wants for marriage. But now we're going to kind of shift gears a little bit because we've really been highlighting on the ladies. Now my wife gets to take me to task. So let's hear the verse for the day, hon. Let's jump on into this.
We are in Colossians today, chapter 3, just verse 19. Husbands, love your wives and do not be harsh with them.
Uh-oh. I think it's really important to talk about the why, because we are wired so very differently. And that has been something that I've got to learn really well over 15 beautiful years of marriage. We are not the same. We don't think the same. And that's why the Lord pairs us together, which is powerful, because there's things that I naturally don't see. And there's things that our spouse naturally doesn't see. I think it's interesting as a man sometimes, especially among our peer groups and when we're trying to create just social hierarchies. I was trying to find a better way to say it, but that's just how it is, right? You know, you try and find your place in society and in community, and men typically do that by showing harshness and cutting and making each other tougher and stronger within the corporate structure of just men, right? And when we try and bring that into the marriage situation, one, it backfires immediately because we're not dealing with the same kind of structure at all. And two, we end up usually damaging something that God set up that's very, very precious. So I love the fact that he says, do not be harsh with them. The marriage, unlike social structure relationship, is not to be enhanced through personal challenge. So you're not supposed to be like, you're so dumb. Come on, where you at? You're not supposed to have that reflective challenge. Kind of like, actually we even see this among siblings, which is, siblings are always trying to toughen each other up or expose each other to harsh things so that, it's just kind of the natural way to prepare them for life. But the marriage structure is actually separate than that. And this is something that's very telling about Christianity because what the Bible is commanding us to do is to go back to a state where marriage is in a safety zone, a cover net. Right. So marriage is in the cover of the Garden of Eden, which means that it's in this perfect spot and it's nurtured and it's tended. It wasn't until sin happened that marriage gets thrown outside of the comfort of what should be in Eden, right? Where everything's just kind of taken care of and hunky-dory. But I actually said hunky-dory on...
It's okay. We love you.
Yeah, it's there. But anyway, when it comes down to this, what happens when you fall in love. Like, everything is great. Everything is roses and rainbows and happy and blah, 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 blah. But sometimes when we try and take what out in the world makes us ready for life into the marriage, it doesn't work. And in Christian marriage, it's because God has enveloped it within a covering so that we can have a safety place and all that kind of stuff. So I got to ask, when it comes to the wife's role, like, how do you mitigate a harsh husband? How do you deal with, like, what's your response? What do you even do as a lady? Like, anyway, how do you handle it when we mess up and show grace anyway?
Oh, that's a hard one. I think the first thing is you have to imagine how much grace Jesus has given to you. That's probably the only way that you can begin to extend grace. And then I encourage you, ladies, go to God in prayer. He hears you. He sees what's going on. If your husband has been harsh with you, don't lash out and think that you're justified because your husband was harsh to you first. Walk away if you need to. Pray about it. Ask the Lord to give you a godly response. Ask the Lord to change his heart too. He will do it. He will do it. Now, again, obviously this is in the context of a Christian marriage.
Right.
This is going to be so foreign to somebody who does not know Christ. But as you know Christ, the same grace that you want learn to extend it.
Yeah, and that's absolutely crucial to understand. And I know we've harped on it a lot, but you have to understand Christian marriage is very different than worldly marriage. Worldly marriage is about compatibility, it's about mutual structure, it's about, all the warm and fuzzies. And I'm not saying that those things are stripped from Christian marriage, but they are not the primary focus of Christian marriage, whereas they are a lot of ways the focus of external marriage situations. So even in the Old Testament, you see that marriage was more about convenience and it was more about survival than it really was about what God intended for the coming together, like we see in the Garden of Eden through Adam and Eve. We are commanded to selfless serving and faithful love that's consistent. And that is so foreign to a lot of the ways that we even approach relationship in our culture today. So it becomes a really, really tough thing. Listen, we have saved the best for last. I hope you've been enjoying all the videos. I know that I have up to this point, but we are going to probably tackle the hardest thing in our next time. I'm not even going to spoil what it is, but since it's Tea Time with Tierney, it's going to be awesome. So we can't wait to see you next time, guys. But listen, if you missed some of these other videos, we've been talking about how marriage works, how men and women come together, and what that structure really looks like. So if you missed those, I encourage you, go back and watch those. I mean, come on, let's put Tea Time with Tierney on the map. BWB is in the back seat this time. But anyway, hey, my friends, we will see you next time where we tackle the hardest one. My friends, Breakfast with Bradley is making a powerful difference, and you are part of that. If you would consider joining with us financially to reach more people, go to our Patreon account and sign up, and my friends, we'll make a powerful difference in all those who want to hear. Thanks for being part of us. God bless you.